Hello, everybody. Let me put this up. Welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hillary Live, the weekly live stream. Blah, blah, blah. Hello, I am your host, Hillary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. Everybody has intuition. That is my strong and firmly held belief. And I use tarot as one of the many tools to put me in touch with my own intuition and also to encourage you to get in touch with your intuition. Because, like I said, I believe that everybody has intuition. So, tonight's episode may have to be a two-parter. I'm not sure. We'll see how much we can cover in this week's episode without live streaming for hours and hours on end. But the topic of tonight's episode is tarot and astrology. So that combination of tarot and astrology, because tarot is a great divination system. Astrology is a great divination system. And can you combine them? Can you put them together? Yes, you absolutely can. And there are astrological components that are within the structure of a tarot. You can see it in certain decks. The deck creator will give it prominence or include it in the imagery of the Major Arcana or the Minor Arcana even. And then in some decks, it may take a little bit of a backseat, but I can still give you a list to work from so that you can have those astrological correspondences. Now, I am working off of my notes that I did from, I think 2018. So it's a while ago. It's almost, yes, 2018, January of 2018, where I did tarot wrap. Does anyone remember tarot wrap? If you've been with me for a while, you'll know what tarot wrap is or was. But it was something that I inherited from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady, and it was a weekly chat on Twitter about different tarot topics. And so I would ask a bunch of questions and people would respond. There was a format, there were hashtags, and people would be able to talk about tarot on Twitter. Now I have sunsetted that particular thing because we just weren't getting the numbers that would make it make sense to continue it. So it has been sunsetted. I don't do tarot wrap anymore. But I still have a ton of notes from those previous tarot wraps. And I also have the notes about, the astrological correspondences from the Major Arcana and also a little bit about the Minor Arcana as well. Because we all are going to talk about deacon wheels. I think that's how you pronounce it. Decan, whatever. But that I'll show you that, and I'll show you how to read that. Maybe this week's episode, maybe we're going to have to go into a part two, like part one for the Major Arcana, part two for the Minor Arcana correspondences. So, but that's tonight's episode. Let me actually read the description if you're not familiar with the description or the description that I put up for the live stream. So yes, they're excellent. Tarot is excellent as a standalone tool. Astrology is excellent as a standalone divination tool, but what happens when you put them together? This is what we're talking about tonight and possibly next week. What the astrological correspondences are to the Major Arcana, what the correspondences are to the Minor Arcana, and how you can use understanding of one system to deepen your understanding of the other system and vice versa. As always, we do this live stream every week, every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So wherever you're tuning in from, go ahead and hit the bell, click the follow, click the subscribe, whatever it is, wherever you're tuning in from, so that you can be reminded of when we go live. But it's usually 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday nights. That's our regular schedule of episodes. So if you're new here, here's the structure of tonight's episode, and the structure of most of the episodes that we do every week is I start off with the astrology, the astro-weather from Teresa Reed's wonderful Astro Biz Digest at the top of the episode. We dive into the topic for tonight. Tonight, we're talking about astrology and tarot. Then I will open up the mid-episode reading contest, in which I'll tell you exactly how to participate when we get there. But basically, I'll give you a keyword, and you'll drop that keyword into the chat, and I will put you into the running. And then we'll spin the wheel, and one lucky person will win a free live 3-card reading right here on the broadcast. And then we'll finish off our topic. And then at the very end of the episode, we'll do the weekend forecast. That is the regular schedule of events. Just keep in mind, stay tuned if you want a reading or the opportunity to be entered into the mid-episode reading. That feature is the only feature that is available for live viewers. So if you want to be part of that, you have to be watching live. All right. Let us go to the chat. Sophia is here. Sophia says, hello, running to grab my laptop. Be right back. Okay. All right, Sophia, I will hold you to that. Let me just grab myself some hydration. Because that was a mouthful and a half. And like I said, this might be a 2-parter or even a 3-parter, depending on how much material I get through tonight, because it is a rather big, ambitious topic that we're talking about this week about astrology and tarot. There's a lot to be said. There's a lot of correspondences. I also have a list of correspondences for the Major Arcana, both from my original notes back in 2018, and then also I have the correspondences here from the Meraki Tarot as well. The Meraki Tarot has a full set of correspondences for the Major Arcana Association, for the astrology and the element that goes with it. For example, the Fool, according to the Meraki Tarot, is Uranus and the element of air. And the universe, number 21, is associated with Saturn and the element of earth. So that's the Meraki Tarot's understanding of the astrology. Now, if I go back to my list, it might be different. It might be the same. It might be different. So we might talk about the differences and whether or not you agree or disagree. So let's see. Yeah, where's my list? I know I have it. Yeah, like for example, yep. Okay, so my notes from back in 2018 also have those same correspondences. The Fool and Uranus, and the world or the universe is Saturn. So we might talk a little bit about whether you agree or disagree with those associations too. Katie is also here. So hello and welcome, Katie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I didn't make a cute overlay again. What is wrong with me? I definitely made my my intro. I made sure to make my intro like yesterday when I was scheduling things. So I was on top of that. So at least I didn't have to do like an intro before the intro and was scrambling to create it. Let me see here. I can quickly make an overlay in Canva. By the way, if you ever seeing any of the overlays or the graphics that I do, they're most likely created in Canva. And I do have a pro membership to Canva. So not everything you see can be done on a free account, but I have a pro account and I use it all the time. It's very helpful. Let's see. Where is my latest overlay? Has it been a while? It might have been a while since I've done an overlay. Ah, there. I did a cute overlay for my playlist introduction to the Sabbath series the other day. That was cool. I change it up every so often. Yeah, the last time I did an overlay was for Yule. So let me fix that and do Actually, let me write tarot first. And astrology. I'm not sure why I didn't have that bolded. There we go. Tarot and astrology. Yeah, that looks good. Making sure to select a transparent background. Otherwise, you won't be able to see my face. Oh, and hello to Elise. Welcome to the broadcast, Elise. So let me put this overlay up. Actually, let me introduce the astrology and the AstroBiz Digest first. Then I'll put the overlay. All right, so we start every episode with the all right, so let me address this first. So, hello, Elise. Welcome. Elise would love a card if you have a chance, but feeling a bit meh with everything lately. Understandable. So, I don't do one card readings on this, especially since I'm teaching tonight, doing astrology and tarot. But stick around for the mid-episode reading, and you might be able entered in to win a free 3-card reading with me on the broadcast. Actually, let me put that ticker there. So, and please understand, if you don't win it, like, you can always book a reading with me, tarotbyhillary.com. Many different reading options are available, from like email readings to 1-hour tarot sessions to 1-hour tarot and tapping sessions. So yeah, thank you for understanding. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. You'd be surprised how rude people can be. I know we have some regular viewers here too. So like, if the regular viewers can like let Elise know how crazy some people have been or how demanding some people have been, it's been really fascinating to see. Oh yeah, speaking of that, I just did a recent podcast episode about, I think it was last week's episode. Don't tell your reader what to do. What's the name of that episode? But I was very snarky. I was very snarky in that episode. I'm like, not gonna lie. Where is it? Recent searches of my own podcast. Yes. So it's the Tarot by Hillary podcast. Episode 24. So this was last week's episode, was when a reader refuses to read for you, aka don't make a reader do what they don't want to do. Like, that's a very swear bear, snarky episode. So just fair warning to y'all. But like, you'd be surprised what people have said to me and how demanding they can be, and how much like they'll force an issue. I'm just like, I can't be a reader for you. Like, maybe not ever again, because of how like weird and aggressive you're being, you know? So thank you, Elise, for not being like that. And today's episode that just went up this morning is episode 25. I know what I need to do. I just don't want to do it. So it's a very, very interesting episode. And I think then the next episode that I'm going to be putting out there is for another Major Arcana in-depth episode on the Hermit. We did this strength card 3 weeks ago. So if you want an in-depth, an in-depth episode on the strength card, that's one to go to. Yeah. Thank you, Elise. Oh God, no, it's your show. It is what it is. Thank you. It's nuts, Elise. It's nuts. Good to see you. Welcome to the broadcast. If you're a new viewer, and like, welcome to the craziness. You'd be surprised. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. So, new episodes of the Tarot by Hillary podcast are up right now. I've been trying to remain fairly consistent in my publishing schedule, which has been every Friday is a new podcast episode from my podcast. Now, for the card slingers, for some reason, I don't think the first episode of the new year posted. We have to like look into this, because our scheduler is just like not working. It's kind of broken, and we have to like just put episodes up manually. So we have an introduction to the new year 2023 episodes, but it hasn't been released yet, because it just hasn't been released yet. But It's coming. It's coming. So we're aware. We're aware that we've been having scheduling issues, and we're working on it. So we might have to just schedule them manually. And usually those go up every second and fourth Friday. There. Okay, that's an administrative update. Yeah, Elise says nothing surprises me these days. LOL. Yeah, I mean, like some people, like some wacky stuff. Anyway, so here is some astrology from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady, from her wonderful Astro Biz Digest. I do want to shout out that the Astro Biz Digest is $99 for a year-long subscription. Astrology in layman's terms, right to your inbox. It is so affordable, and it is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but I found it to be very helpful in my own personal life. So let me go ahead and display that. So, and the link should propagate into the chat. And I usually focus on mostly Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'll usually take what transits are going on, overall transits for the week, from the AstroBiz Digest, because I always want to give credit where credit is due, knowing that I'm not an astrologer. Keep in mind that, yes, this particular episode is on tarot and astrology, but I am not an astrologer. I know just enough astrology to be dangerous. And that's my own knowledge. I can't do astrology for other people. I can do it like informally, but it's not the work of a truly good astrologer. So this is from Teresa's wonderful AstroBiz Digest. Love it, love it, love it. All right, I'm going to do this side by side so that you can see my face. And if you want to purchase a copy of it for yourself, it's thetarolady.com/AstroBiz Digest to purchase a subscription for yourself. All right, let's get into the astrology. So, big events that happened this week. Mercury station direct. Yay! So we are not in Mercury retrograde anymore, though we are still in the shadow period that follows a Mercury retrograde period. So like there's a shadow period about 2 to 3 weeks before Mercury goes retrograde, and there's usually a shadow period after Mercury goes direct. So just keep that in mind. We're still in the shadow period. So it's not like full speed ahead. Just ease into things, okay? So Mercury stationed direct on the 18th, so 2 days ago. After weeks of retrograde tomfoolery, relief is in sight. Communication improves, travel goes back to normal, and you can invest in new tech or sign contracts without worry. This is also your green light to launch all new things that have been on hold for the first 3 weeks of the year. So a lot of astrologers have been saying that it's just like, okay, now that Mercury is direct and not in retrograde, like 2023 can truly begin now. Like, yes, we know, it's January 20th. Like, we know that we're still in the year 2023 for those 3 weeks. But now that Mercury is direct, we can feel like it's like, okay, this is like the true beginning of the new year, or at least so astrologers say. So Aquarius season begins on the 20th, so today, when the sun slips into the sign of the water bearer. The four following weeks are best for updating your technology, cleaning up your website errors, organizing your inbox, and community building activities. If your social media profiles are gathering cobwebs, you should refresh them. A new headshot could do wonders. This transit is also ideal for reviewing your team. Do you have the right people by your side? If not, start putting out your feelers. A great new employee could take some work off of your shoulders. So the sun will be in Pisces on February 18th. So the sun is going to be in Aquarius beginning on the 20th and running until February 18th, when then it moves into Pisces. The next day, we've got the new moon in Aquarius. So tomorrow, January 21st, the new moon is in Aquarius. This is a glorious day for opening the doors to new communities, group activities, or future retreats or gatherings. It's also splendid for an online event. This is also a fantastic day to treat your employees too. A bonus or other surprise could inspire them to keep on slaying. Set intentions on teamwork, technology, and community. And you can learn how to do that with New Moon Astrology, the book by Jan Spiller. It's Teresa's fave. Then finally, big transits that we've got going on, Uranus is direct on the 22nd. So that means you can begin making the changes you've been pondering the last few months. If there's something new you want to try, nothing is holding you back now. So go forth, shake things up, and see how it lands. Also, no more conforming to what everyone else in your industry is doing. Set new trends. So those are the big transits that are happening. And a lot of them are happening like, well, we've got the direct, Mercury is direct on Wednesday, but then the rest of them are all this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's a big weekend. Yeah, yeah. So Katie's saying, yay, now I can attempt to communicate with people without gross confusion occurring. Yes, well, relatively, sure. And Sophia's back. Hello. Hello to you, Sophia. All right, let me put this down. Let me hide that and do full screen. All right, so let us get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Friday, today, January 20th, Aquarius season is in the house when the sun enters the sign of the water bearer for 4 weeks, beginning today at 3:30 a.m. I already read the info. Be on high alert for biz drama when the moon squares Chiron at 9:45 a.m. Drama queens are dying to dredge up stupid stuff. Hey, remember when you offered that discount 5 years ago? Lay low and avoid those creeps. Actually, I think I slept in. I slept hard last night. I don't know what was going on, but I like woke up at 11 a.m. So I just like slept through all of that drama. Finally, amplify your online marketing when the moon trines Uranus at 1:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a hot spot. Post a meme, pop out a newsletter, or pitch the online media. All efforts will bring a payoff. So Friday is a power day for Capricorn and a weak day for Cancer. All right, are we ready for Saturday and Sunday? Give me a hell yeah in the chat, and I'm gonna hydrate myself. Oh, and Sophia is saying, I also crashed, LOL. Yeah, I don't know what it was. Also, I've been having a lot of trouble sleeping, and that's part of the reason why I've been doing the tapping that I created, that I put up on the two of you. So if you're interested in doing EFT tapping and you're having issues sleeping or resting your bedtime brain, or you're having like anxious spiraling thoughts, you may want to check out that tapping that I did that I posted on the tube of you. It might be really helpful. So what I've been doing is I've been doing that tapping, my own tapping that I put out there, and I've been taking melatonin. So I've been doing like 2 gummies, which is the recommended amount. It doesn't say that you should take this every day. Where is it? Can't remember where it says it. Take only as directed. Do not exceed suggested daily dose. Daily dose is 2 gummies. This product is intended for occasional sleeplessness. So I wouldn't recommend taking it like every single day. But if you're having issues on occasion going to bed, what I've been doing is I've taken the melatonin first, the 2 gummies, and then I've done the tapping, drank a little sip of water afterwards, and gone to bed. And I have the deepest sleep, but also the craziest dreams when I'm taking melatonin. So this is from Golly Nutrition. I actually found it online at Stu Leonard's when we went to go, get all these supplies for our New Year's Eve dinner. And I saw this while we were waiting online to check out. And I'm just like, hey, can we add this to the cart? And I got called a hippie. I'm just like, it's not. I'm just like, really, I'm a hippie for taking melatonin gummies, 5 milligrams of melatonin with lemon balm, botanicals, magnesium, and vitamin D. Yes, I'm a hippie. Like, fine, call me a hippie. But it's really funny because the person that called me a hippie, like, they've been having trouble sleeping. And I was just like, oh, yeah? You want to borrow some of my melatonin? Who's calling you? Who's calling who a hippie now? So I thought that was very funny. But yeah, take two melatonin and my tapping and call me in the morning. So Sophia said, hell yeah, for the weekend. So astrology for the weekend. So for Saturday, Saturday finds the moon void in the morning. So rest up, friends. You don't have to push yourself. In fact, it's better if you don't. That way you'll be rested when the new moon occurs at 3:53 p.m. Before that happens, the moon will slither into Aquarius at 1:29 p.m., your favorite transit for gatherings, group activities, teamwork, and technology. You've got all weekend to do those things. Yay! When the new moon arrives at 3:53 p.m., be sure to set good intentions. I've already told you how to do that. A lucky spot for travel, events, networking, and parties is here at 8:09 p.m. when the moon is sextile with Jupiter. If you're traveling or hosting anything, expect excellent results. Sunday starts with the moon in sextile with Chiron, a groovy aspect for community work. If you're hanging out with your people, you can inspire them to greatness now. If not, perhaps you might want to post an inspirational thing on social media. Either way, some good vibes from you may get people making significant leaps. The Moon-Uranus square at 12:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is your cue to press pause on your day. Folks are unpredictable at that time. Let them have lunch and settle a bit before engaging. Venus conjunct Saturn at 5:13 p.m. is all about commitment. Commit to your community and lead by example. Show the public what is possible and everyone wins. This is also dynamite energy for romance. If you're not working, you could be loving. So Saturday is a power day for Capricorn and a weak day for Cancer, and Sunday is a power day for Aquarius and a weak day for Leo. Whew. All right. Check on things. Okay, cool. So, any questions about the astrology from this past week before we move into tonight's topic, which is tarot and astrology? So if you're thinking like, oh, well, Monday was a little bit weird, like I wonder if there was an astrological reason why that was the case, or Tuesday seemed a little bit funky, and probably Tuesday seemed a little bit funky with regards to communication, travel, and technology, because that was right before Mercury retrograde ended. So it couldn't gotten worse before it got better. So I wouldn't be surprised if your Tuesdays were a little bit weird. So just let me know in the chat, and I will take a look before we move on to the main topic of tonight's episode. So Katie said melatonin is a natural product that our bodies produce, so better than Valium. Yeah, I would really be afraid to take Valium. And I've tried doing like mugwort tea, but that's not necessarily for sleep. It's more for like lucid dreaming. And I've only had mugwort tea once, and like my dreams were like so fucked up that I was just like, yeah, never again. Like I don't think this is a great combination for me. But like melatonin has been like weird dreams. Oh no. Okay, I'm waiting for this comment to pop up because I've got my comment assistant on. So Sophia's saying, what was up with Wednesday? Well, Wednesday was Mercury finally going direct, but I mean, we do have to remember that we're still in the shadow period, so it's going to take some time for things to be truly like in the clear. So what was up Wednesday? He who shall not be named tried to get my attention via email, of all things. Blech. Yeah, I've heard that valerian tea is great. Yes, I've heard that too. And Katie says, mugwort tea, yeah, sends me into psychic overload. Yes, a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to answer Sophia's question, but I do think it's because Mercury went direct. So Mercury went direct at 8:12 a.m. After weeks of nonsense and negative Nellies, things are about to fly right. That retrograde will be a distant and crappy memory in a few days. Celebrate the good news and get your head back in the game. Moon Chiron trine 9:13 a.m. Solving client or employee concerns. A truth-telling session around that time could clear the air. Step into a leadership role when the sun conjoins with Pluto at 9:44 a.m. Yeah, things looked relatively clear for Wednesday, and Wednesday was a power day for Sagittarius and a weekday for Gemini. So I would say look at your natal chart placements, especially if you have Gemini in there somewhere, and that could be the reason why. But also, I would say just because Mercury is no longer in retrograde and Mercury went direct that day doesn't mean that we're not still in the shadow period of it. So, I feel like it was like that one last gasp. Do you know what I mean? Shut up. No, really? Dead on with the time, too. So that makes sense. Right. It was almost like there was this sense of urgency where it's just like, I got to do it now. But, the thing about Mercury retrograde, just because X's or Mercury retrograde or Venus retrograde, just because the X's come out of the woodwork doesn't mean that, like, just because they invite you out to play doesn't mean that you have to take them up on that invitation. Sometimes it is that test of boundaries. And I know we've talked about boundaries before. We've done 2 full episodes on boundaries, actually. And I'm in the works on doing another tapping session on boundaries. And I'm going to put that up on the tube of you when I'm ready. Narc's gonna narc. Yes. Short for narcissists, by the way, in case you didn't know. Anybody else before we move into the topic of tarot and astrology? Let me go ahead and put up my overlay. Oh, let me make sure that I downloaded it. Yeah, no, I downloaded it. Looks good. This was the overlay that I did for the Sabbath series, which actually turned out pretty good, but that's not the one that I want to do now. And okay. Let me hide this. Let me leave the ticker going. So we just did the astro-weather from Teresa Reed's AstroBiz Digest, and now we're going to dive into tonight's topic, which is tarot and astrology. And then about halfway through, I think, the Major Arcana, we will do the mid-episode reading, and I will tell you all about how to enter. And we have a few regulars here too, so they can also teach you how it's done. But basically, I'm going to ask you at that time to drop a keyword into the chat, and then you'll be into the running to win a free 3-card reading with me right here on the episode. And then we'll spin the picker wheel and someone will win it. So, all right. And the Queen of Sheba is here. So hello to you. And I'm doing just dandy, Queen of Sheba. I hope you're doing well too. Welcome to the broadcast. Yes, Sophia. It's getting thothy in here, or tothy in here, as the case may be. Because, and I did want to cover that you're ahead of the game here. So, can astrology be attributed to like any tarot deck? Yes, it can. But the tothiness. So Thoth, in case you don't know, is a type of tarot deck. Usually the main 2 we talk about are Rider-Waite-Smith, RWS for short, and the Thoth deck. A third is actually something that Sophia's doing a deep dive in on her Instagram, if you're interested in doing that, still going on. And that's the Marseille. So hold please while I think about it. And I did not include the astrological stuff in my book. By the way, my book is How to Read Tarot, Profiles, Guided Exercises, and Reference Charts by this chick right here, Hillary Perry Haggerty. Who the fuck is that bitch? That's me. So pick yourself up a copy. It's available from Flame Tree Publishing right now. But I do talk about the different types of tarot decks in this book. And I do try to include like the main two. Now, I'm considered a Rider-Waite-Smith reader. That's my tarot deck. That's the one that I'll usually go for. And a lot of tarot decks on the market right now are Rider-Waite-Smith based decks, meaning they'll have the Fool, they'll have the World, they'll have the Three of Swords, they'll have the Ace of Wands, and all of the symbology are going to like look very similar or have that that basic structure based on the Rider-Waite-Smith symbology and understanding. Now, there is also the Thoth deck, which some people like even better and read even better with, and that's a different deck creator. So Rider-Waite-Smith was created by Arthur E. Waite at his instruction, and Pamela Coleman Smith was the artist that went by his instruction. Now, for the Thoth, it was Aleister Crowley, and it was painted by Lady Frida Harris. So it's two different magical systems, basically. And then Marseille is a different story entirely. So, yes, Sophia is saying cash register noise and air horn. Thank you. So, yeah, where's that? Where's that in my book? It's been a while. History of Cartomancy. Cards of the Tarot. What is tarot? The tarot decks. So yeah, it's the tarot decks. It's that chapter, and it starts on page 18, if I'm remembering correctly or referencing my own book correctly. Hold, please. So yeah, there are a myriad of tarot decks on the market today, but in my opinion, it really boils down to three from the diverse selection of decks available: the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Thoth, and the Marseille. And the reason for Rider in there, so Rider-Waite-Smith, they were originally published by the William Rider and Son Company in 1909. Let's see. So you can call it RWS or RW Tarot. And I favor using all three names to give credit to the woman who actually did the art, which is Pamela Coleman Smith. So really quickly, there's that. Then you've got Thoth. So the Thoth is illustrated by Lady Frida Harris under the direction of Aleister Crowley. And we can't count that out because it has its own fervent fans. However, for the purposes of this book and my teaching, normally the RWS deck will take precedence. Like that's just how I read. So really, really quickly, let me just address something that's going on in the chat right now. Please ignore the person that is soliciting tarot readings. I am not affiliated with this person, but they're saying they're trying to friend request you. I know that they're targeting Sophia and Katie and Elise. Please ignore and feel free to ban or block that person because I am not affiliated with them, and that's really not cool. Okay. Yes, thank you, Sophia. We got a wild one reported and blocked. I thank you all so much for also being loyal viewers, but also playing moderator from time to time. I appreciate it so that I can like focus on the teaching aspect of what I'm trying to do in these episodes. So anyway, the Thoth, if using a Thoth, I use the small Crowley Thoth Tarot. And Crowley retitled several of the Major Arcana cards and also renumbered them to correspond and align with his understanding of astrology, numerology, and the Hebrew alphabet. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning all of this history, right, is because, yes, Rider-Waite-Smith does have some astrological correspondences. We're going to get to that. But it really gets into when you're working with a Thoth deck, they use a lot of astrology, a lot of numerology, and a lot of the Hebrew alphabet within there. This also might, and I do say this in the book, this may also be the reason why I prefer not to use Thoth, because the astrological associations of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck are more in line with my understanding of the correspondences between tarot and astrology. Oh, we got another one. We got another one, another spammer. please ignore that person. Please block, report and block. Please ignore. I'm not affiliated with this person. Thank you. When I get a chance, I'll go ahead and ban them. Actually, I really wish, okay. I really wish that I could do this within my third party app, that I could just go ahead and ban people from the stream as I'm like working, but I can't. Thank you, Sophia. Okay. So there'll be some conversation when we get, especially when we get into I think the minor arcana, talking about the minor arcana cards and their association with astrology, because some of the renaming happens in the court cards. So like there's yeah, with the exception of the queen, the minor arcana court cards were also renamed in the Thoth deck. And another reason for possible confusion if you're just starting to learn tarot. So king went to knight, knight went to prince, and page went to princess. And although a deck may be Rider-Waite-Smith symbology based, you do see some Thoth influence in the court card renaming, specifically the knight and prince to prince and princess. And the minor arcana pip cards also carry their own names in addition to their numbering, such as the Six of Wands being called Victory. In a classic RWS deck, the same card is called the Lord of Victory most of the time. So while the RWS and the Thoth decks differ, there remains some commonalities. So, and I don't talk a lot about Marseille. I only like give it a little paragraph, but like, hey, if you connect with the Marseille, like, good on you. But the main focus of this book is more from an RWS perspective. But here's the reason why I'm saying all of that and giving all that explanation. It's because we'll get more into the astrological correspondences and we'll see more of the astrological correspondences when you're using the minor arcana in a Thoth deck or Thoth deck. Would you agree with that, Sophia? I know you're also busy moderating, but I know that you love the Thoth deck. So, like, give me a yes or a no if that matches up with your understanding. Whew, I'm dry. This might have to be a two-parter or a three-parter. All right. So, I'm also going to drop in here and see what we got going on and if I can add these people. Yeah, I usually can't do this in the midst of a broadcast. I don't want to like mess up the stream. So I'm not gonna. So go ahead and ignore any of those requests. And Sophia, you did give me a private chat and I see it and I'll have to look into that. But I will happily say yes if that's the case. If I can actually assign official moderators to the live stream, then yeah, we're gonna do that. So yes, okay. So 100%, it's much more overt regarding the astrology in the minor arcana. I believe that's the question that I asked. Good. Okay. So let's talk about but before we get to the minor arcana, let's talk about the major arcana first and the associations that I've seen for the major arcana and astrology. So really quickly, since I've got the Meraki Tarot close to hand and their little instruction cards and keyword associations, we've got astrological signs, right? And then we've also got the solar system associations. And then we have the major arcana associations with the astrology and the elements. So I'm going to go for this first. I'm pretty sure most of these are a match to what the notes that I already have from back in 2018 when I covered this during a tarot wrap on Twitter. But we've got, We've got Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And then we have the solar system associations, which is the Sun, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Pluto, Earth, Uranus, the Moon, and Neptune. And we have also keywords that are associated with those things. Like for astrology, let's see if I can read this properly. So for astrological signs, so Aries is energy and initiative, and the words are I am. And that's from March 21st to April 19th. I'm not going to give all of this because, I have a limited amount of time. I don't want to, take up a lot of time on some of that. I want to go right to the direct associations, right? And Aries ruler is Mars. And then Mars is about passion, my passion, aggression, will, anger, drive, and determination. Now, you can understand, like, if your Mars is in Aries, how happy that 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 combination is. And by the way, my Mars is in Aries, so I'm a triple Aries. Sun sign Aries, Mars is in Aries, Venus is in Aries. If you're an astrologer or you're familiar with astrology, when you know, you know. That's all I'm going to say. I'm very fiery in many aspects of my personality, let's just say. Um, for another example is Scorpio. Scorpio is passion and intensity. And their keywords or their statement, I statement, is I create. And Scorpio is associated with Pluto. That's their ruler. And Pluto is my power, rebirth, renewal, change, transformation. So it's a lot of additional information when you start to combine a divination system like tarot and then a divination system like astrology. Like it's a deepening. And when you know one and then you know the other and you know how they correspond to each other, it's just like you get more and more information. So moving on to the Major Arcana associations with the astrology. So you've got the astrology and you've got the elements. So the Fool. The Fool is Uranus and air. And I'm going to actually pull up my list and see if there's a match there before we move on. So I believe there is a match there. So my list from back in 2018. Yes, exactly January 2018. Was Yeah, we did it through the zodiac. So I've done it through the zodiac, and then the other 10 major arcana cards are aligned as follows. Yeah, hold on. Hold, please. Actually, I think I did it for everything. Yeah. All right. So yes, the Fool is associated with Uranus and this list back from 2018 too. So there's a match there. And the element is the element of air. Now, the Magician card. The Magician card is associated with Mercury and air in the Meraki Tarot. Let me see here. The Magician, Mercury. Yep. So there's a match there. The High Priestess. So the High Priestess, and so far there's like no, I don't really have any disagreements with those things. I mean, when we get to I'm getting ahead of myself, but there are certain cards in the Major Arcana that I'm just like, I don't understand why that would be that sign or that astrological sign or that element. I don't get it. It doesn't seem like a fire card or a water card or an earth card or an air card. So anyway, as I'm speaking or as you're listening to these correspondences, please feel free to put into the chat like, oh, I don't see that card as that. I see it more as this. Like, let's have a conversation here. But the more you understand the correspondences and like it makes sense to you, like the more you're going to internalize using these two divination systems together. So the high priestess, according to the Meraki tarot, is the moon and the element of water. And I can totally see that. And also, I have that in my list: high priestess and the moon card. The empress, Venus and Earth. My list also corresponds to that: Venus and Venus. Um, the emperor. The emperor, we have Aries and fire. I agree. I agree with that because I am an Aries, so I know what my own astrological associations are going to be, and you can also see some of this correspondence in the imagery. And actually, let me go ahead and do that. Display the card as we're talking about it, so you can see if you agree or disagree. Um, move this over here. Unfortunately, this also means that I have to take away my overlay to make sure that I can actually display some of this. And Sophia is saying, I've been experimenting with using the houses to color the correspondences. Like, say, Scorpio can be negative, but the eighth house is where it's super solid. Interesting. Um, should I display the wheel so people can see that? I'm happy to, because we're not there yet. We're not there yet, but we will be. Like, here's the deluxe wheel that I saw with all of its associations. This is not being displayed to confuse, by the way. But let me take a look at what Sophia just said again. Houses to color the correspondences. Like, say, Scorpio can be negative, but the eighth house is where it's super solid. So look for the eighth house. Hard to see the houses in here. Makes a lot of sense, though. That is not what I wanted to display. I wanted to show the Fool. So 0 and yeah, it's a work in progress, but my friend and I are noodling based on Stephen Forrest's book. It's an expansion on the wheel. It's not on it yet. Very cool. Very cool. All right, let me hide this and hide this. So let me show you, like, so for example, here. So we've got the Fool card, and the Fool card is associated for most lists with Uranus and with the element of air. And if you know what Uranus stands for, that association makes sense. So here, going back to the solar system association, we've got Uranus, my inner rebel, originality, change, and individuality. So these are ways, by the way, if you happen to be working with a deck like the Meraki Tarot, and you can see why they have all of this different stuff on the interpretation cards, because you can draw a line through to the correspondences for the tarot. All right. So what else did we do? I didn't get very far because I want to be able to show this. Let's see. Display again. So let me see if I can just do this one. So like for here, the magician, we've got Mercury and we've got air. And Mercury, I always see as like a trickster too. So I mean, I can understand why that association would be Mercury. So Mercury is my thoughts, travel, communication, and knowledge. And you can see that that a magician would have to be knowledgeable, right? Let me hide that. Sophia says, I love to take the Fool as the moment before the first communication that Mercury speaks. in the magician. Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. And yeah, that's the kind of discussion that I love, It's just like take these correspondences and run with them and see like how they make sense to you and how they don't make sense to you, because it's all information, right? Even if you don't agree with the information or you agree with the correspondences, like having introspection and looking at the why you don't agree with it might give you another revelation or another way of looking at either tarot or astrology or both. Let's see what else. So what were we on? The high priestess. Should have uploaded all of these beforehand, but so here's the high priestess. And the high priestess is associated with the moon. Um, Yes, the moon, my emotions, femininity, emotions, feelings, and the subconscious. Like that's very high priestessy energy. And also in some decks, you can see the moon temple of the moon card when be that and that's behind that pomegranate tapestry that the high priestess sits in front of. So if it's just like in some tarot decks, there's a breeze blowing the tapestry a little bit aside so you can see out to the moon card's imagery. Very cool. Now the Empress, I'm going to go ahead and upload the Empress while you're looking at the beautiful high priestess. The Empress is go ahead and hide that and show the Empress. And by the way, look right there. So here we have the symbology right there on the card, and it does depend on different deck creators. All right. Whether or not they choose to use the symbols that are in or the shorthand or the glyphs that are associated with astrology and put it into their visual interpretation of the card. Here in the classic Rider-Waite-Smith, you have the card of Venus, usually either on a shield or on the stone or on the throne. And so you've got that little there. You've got that little heart right there. It almost looks like a heart. And then you've got the Venus symbol right on there. So you can see what the astrological association is for the Empress, which is Venus. Now, Venus is my romantic feelings, love, desire, relationships, and beauty. Okay. So there's that. So now we're on the Emperor, and here's the reason why I was just like, oh, let me show the card that I'm talking about so that you can see when there is that astrological visual within the card itself, because you can see it in the Empress card with that Venus symbol, and you can also see it pretty strongly in the Emperor card. And the reason why I know it off the top of my head is because I'm an Aries. And my birth cards are Death Emperor. So here. Actually, I think I can do this in all one lump sum, so it doesn't have to be a different one each and every time. But there you go. So this is the Emperor. Now, here's the symbology that shows up in the Emperor. You don't have a planetary, you don't have the solar system, right? But you do have the astrological. So you don't have the Mars, all right? At least I don't see the Mars symbol in there, but you do have Aries. And you have Aries by the ram. So the ram is the symbol of Aries, and you see the two rams in the stonework on the front of the throne where the armrests are, and you also see them above. See the ram's horns? So there are visual clues there in the tarot. Maybe they're more obvious in the major arcana for the Rider-Waite-Smith. And when we move into Thoth, or if we want to discuss Thoth, I wasn't really going to, but like you can see some of that astrology a little bit more blatantly in both the major arcana and the minor arcana. At least that was confirmed by Sophia, who is a very Tothy, who enjoys working with the Toth deck. I can't even remember where my Toth deck is. I know I have it. I just don't know where I placed it. Anyway, so there's the Emperor. Yeah, I'm going to try and upload a bunch at a time. Let's see if I can do that. I was hoping to find a folder. I do have it. I do have it. I don't want to see the M's though. Let me see if I've... There's definitely a folder. I know there's a folder. I'm just probably not going to be able to find it. Let me see. Is it in my documents? Talk amongst yourselves. Oh my God. I'm trying to see the folder. Anyway. All right. Hold on a second there. Seeing stuff displayed. All right. Which one are we on now? We're on the Hierophant. So let me search this. Okay. I see where it is. Okay, it's in the downloads. Got it. Got it. Okay. I'm going to get this. Hold, please. Hmm. I'm finding photos from my trip to my Baltic Sea cruise, but I'm not finding the exact folder that I wanted, because it would make it a lot easier. I just need a folder. Just one little folder. Oh, well, whatever. I'll just have to do this one at a time. Just gonna have to be what it is, right? All right. So Katie's saying, I'm realizing that associating astrology with the card gives more keywords to explain and interpret with. Yes, exactly. It's a further layer and connection you can make between cards. Say if there's a recurrent theme of a planet within a reading. Exactly, Katie. And that's the reason why I wanted to revisit this topic on the live stream, because I looked in the previous live streams that we've done, previous workshops that I've done, and I realized we haven't talked about the association between tarot and astrology, or at least I don't remember it. I looked, I searched, I didn't come up with anything. I mean, like, I'll bring it back to you guys and ask you if we've ever done this kind of thing before, but I don't think we have. But that's the reason why I'm doing it. Like, associating one divination system with another, if there are correspondences, can help give more information, more keywords to explain, to interpret with, greater or deeper understanding, right? or hit upon a recurrent theme or a planet within a reading, right? Exactly, 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 exactly. All right, so let me hide Mr. Emperor there, and let's show the Hierophant. And I don't know why I went to upload or re-upload, but so here's the Hierophant. Or Hierophant. So Hierophant or Hierophant, I pronounce it Hierophant, is associated with Taurus and Earth. Now let me see if I have that on my list. I think I do. Yes, I do. I broke this up in a very different way the last time I taught this. So I literally went through the signs of the zodiac, the 12 astrological signs and their tarot card correspondences. And then I talked about the planetary influences at the end. So it's like my notes are a little haphazard. So I'm glad I have this list of 0 to 21 that shows the astrology or the zodiac or the planetary influence, because it's not the same thing. It's not entirely interchangeable. So yeah, the sign of Taurus is associated with the Hierophant tarot card. And I asked this question when I did tarot wrap. Why do you think this association was made? And do you agree or disagree with the Hierophant card being associated with Taurus and Earth? And is there any Taurusy indications on the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the card? I don't know. I like that. I think was the first time when I was like looking through it, and I'm just like, I don't know if Taurus necessarily makes sense for the Hierophant, but let's look and see what the Meraki has to say about that. So for Taurus, Taurus is reliability and persistence, and the I statement is I have. So I can understand why Hierophant would be reliability and persistence, because it is very rooted and dogmatic in nature sometimes, but it is also talking about religion and spirituality. So I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I agree or disagree with that association. So, and this is also the maybe the downside to doing something like this and doing the correspondences, because it's just like, when it makes sense, it's awesome. But when it doesn't make sense, it's just like, what do I do with it? Do I throw the baby out with the bathwater? Do I just not use any kind of correspondences because this one particular correspondence doesn't make sense to me? And I would say no. I would say use the correspondences that give you that deeper understanding. Like, I've always had this love-hate relationship with the Hierophant card, because I have a problem with organized religion, and I have for a number of years. And I was a very good Episcopalian when I was growing up and when I was a teenager, and I served as a Sunday school teacher. I served on the altar on Sundays. Like, I was, by all intents and purposes, a good practicing Christian and went above and beyond. But I wasn't feeling anything. And it wasn't until I came to Wicca and witchcraft and magic that I really found my spirituality. So the Hierophant can be a difficult card for people that have that background. Now, also, there was a particular deck's interpretation that changed the Hierophant card for me and changed my understanding of the Hierophant card, and that was Ciro Marchetti's Legacy of the Divine deck, in which he renamed the Hierophant card to Faith, and he had four different men of faith and their corresponding scripture or holy book, and it had this pillar of light. And it really changed my understanding of the Hierophant card, made me learn to love it instead of hate it or fear it. So, Katie says Taurus can be stuck in its way of thinking, which can be what religions can also be like, stubborn of thought. Thank you, Katie. So in that instance, Taurus may make sense for you for the Hierophant card. All right, let's move on to the lovers, which is associated with Gemini and the element of air. Now, Gemini is versatility and curiosity. And the keywords are, I think, um, oh, oh, yeah, I'm just going to keep this stuff over here so I'm not like losing my way. Let me go ahead and just remove that source entirely. And let's upload the lovers. Now, the lovers as Gemini makes sense to me because the lovers is to me a fork in the road. That kind of like that sense of the twins or that duality. It makes sense. I think it makes sense. But you can feel free to disagree. So this is a lover's card, and it is ruled by Gemini. So you have that kind of like fork in the road, and you have that duality as well. Now, Chariot. Chariot is another one that I was just like, nah, I don't know, because Chariot is associated with Cancer and water. And I've really not seen the influence of Cancer symbology in the Chariot card, but let's take a look because if you know where to look, you'll see it. So, and remember that we are in a Chariot year this year. That. So, the Chariot has, let's see here. Hold on a second. The Chariot has moon, like crescent moons on the shoulders, and also the charioteer has armor. So Cancer is intuition and sympathy, and the I statement for it is I feel. So Katie says, Chariot strikes me more as Mars and the battle energy of Mars. And while I would normally agree with you on that, Katie, there was something that I read about the Chariot card when I was doing the Major Arcana in depth episode that made me rethink that, because it's very much about like that armor. Like as soon as I saw the armor, I didn't think necessarily Cancer, but then I realized that it's just like, and we do have water. We do have water in there. If you look very carefully behind the sphinxes, you have some water there. Um, but I thought of Cancer and the crab. Think about the crab. That armor is the crab's shell, right? And they're often very like they've got that hard exterior, right? But they also have that squishy center. So this card can feel very Mars and battle energy of Mars, like what Katie was saying, but it's actually kind of a front, kind of protection, you know? Yeah. So Katie says maybe that is why I struggle with getting chariot interpretations. Maybe, maybe. Um, so I actually grappled a little bit with this when I did a new moon ritual a number of years ago, where I wanted to incorporate the astrology and I wanted to incorporate the tarot. And so I incorporated both and I incorporated it into a bath. Let me see if I can look up that particular blog post. I didn't understand it then. I think it's under new moon ritual. All right, page not found. I'll find it. I know it's in there. Let's see. Yes. Tarot ritual, new moon in Cancer for the breaking of bad habits. So I pulled out the moon card and I pulled out the chariot card because I saw that it was associated with the sign of Cancer. So there were a few habits that I was trying to correct all at once, and I saved the worst for the last on the list, which was procrastination. And so if you're looking to knock a habit, need an astrological boost to help you along, the new moon is one of the best times to set the intention to begin again. And by the way, we are entering a new moon as of tomorrow, but that new moon will be in Aquarius. So you may want to think about the association of Aquarius. We're not there yet, but it's associated with the star card, and create a tarot ritual around using the moon card and using the star card. So when I was doing this particular new moon, it was the new moon was in the sign of Cancer, the crab, and the element associated with the sign is water. Cancer rules the hearth and home and intuition. And Cancer can be affectionately called crabby, but their protective nature towards their family, friends, and emotions is unmatched. They have hard outer shells, but ultimately that exoskeleton is in place to conceal the fragility within. And then tarot cards are associated with astrological signs as well. So I pulled the tarot card associated with the sign of Cancer, the chariot. I also selected the moon card because of moon in Cancer and the Fool as representations of the new moon. And so that's what I did. But when I did that, and I'm happy to share this particular link to the blog post. Hold, please. Oh, drop that in there. But like at the time where I was looking that up, I was just like, I wasn't really confident in the astrological correspondences and how they corresponded to the tarot. And so I just went with it. And I went with that correspondence without really questioning whether or not I felt it was a match. And so I would say if you're not feeling it, or if you're not agreeing with that correspondence, or you can't see that correspondence, then I would say use the correspondences that work for you and set aside the rest. Use what works for you and set aside what doesn't work for you, right? So that particular blog post is here. So you can always click on that after the episode if you want to take a look at how I created a ritual around new moon habits, breaking of bad habits. But just be advised, the new moon is in Aquarius tomorrow. Okay. So that's the chariots. So let's move on to strength. Strength is one of the more obvious ones. I'm fairly certain strength is associated with Leo. And that's one of the ones that I can say off the top of my head because you have the lion in the strength card. So let me go ahead and show you that one. So all right, so there's a freaking lion on the card. So if you're wondering, like, what astrological symbol does this correspond with? Leo, the lion, right there. And so Leo is confidence and self-expression, and their I statement is I will. And Leo's ruler, I believe, is the sun. Which is about my ego, life, consciousness, identity, individuality, what you're known for. So really, it is this kind of like boisterous energy, but also having the strength to be like, I am here, you know? So in that way, I can understand why the sign of Leo would be associated with the strength card. It's a very bright card, and it is the element of fire is also associated. So when I did tarot wrap, there were many people who were just like, "Yep, I don't disagree with that. That makes a lot of sense." All right. So the next card is the Hermit. Let's see. So let's go ahead and display that. So the Hermit card is Virgo and Earth. And there's the Hermit card. So Virgo is analysis and perfectionism, and the I statement is I analyze. And Virgo's ruler is Virgo's ruler is Mercury. My thoughts, travel, communication, knowledge. So, because remember, like, keep in mind, it's not just about the planetary or the zodiac, because each zodiac has a planetary ruler. So you can always bring that association in there. So it makes sense. That makes sense to me that the hermit would be associated with analysis and perfectionism, and that's Virgo, like weighing her options and you know introspection, right? Any questions? Any disagreements on that? Any further thoughts? Because I think what we're gonna do is do the major arcana first, and we're gonna do part two next week. Because otherwise, we're gonna we're gonna be here a while. So, like, for those of you who are tothy and want to brush up on the decans, um, you can go ahead and do that next week in preparation for next week's episode. So Katie says definitely makes sense. Cool, cool. All right, let us go into 10, the Wheel of Fortune. It's like, yeah, I don't mind assigning homework. I don't mind it at all. So there's 10. Here's the Wheel of Fortune. There's a lot of symbology on here, right? There's like, and there's a lot of animals in there too. But 10, the Wheel of Fortune is associated with Jupiter and the element of fire. So Jupiter, so that's a planetary. Um, Jupiter is my luck, fortune, expansion, and charity. So the that wheel of fortune, that element of luck or destiny, feels very Jupiterian, I guess, to me. Because it's luck, it's fortune, it's expansion, charity. It's like literally has the word fortune in those keywords in that correspondences. Not sure if the Jupiter symbol is in there though. Let me see. Jupiter. Yeah, exactly. So Katie says Wheel of Fortune is definitely the turning of luck in our lives. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go on to number 11. And then we're going to do the mid-episode reading. Actually. Yeah, let's do it after number 11. So 11, according to my understanding of the Major Arcana, is the Justice card. So that is associated with Libra and the element of air. Makes a lot of sense. You're going to see the scales, right? Libra's the scales. And you also see the scales in the Justice card. So here's the Justice card. And you can see a little bit on like where a deck creator or an artist would be able to drop in some of these correspondences and create a justice card or a magician card or the sun card to show some of these associations symbolically. Like, for example, here, most of the time when we see the justice card, we're going to see the scales and the sword. But the scales are really like the big symbol, right? Let's see. Yeah, Libra is balance and harmony, and the I statement is I balance. And I am getting my phone's blowing up here with texts. Hold on. My friend is sending me pictures of tower cards. I don't know why. Let me see. She's at the I think she's at the Morgan Library right now. Which is where the oldest it might not be. I'm trying to look. Now I'm totally distracted, but there's some beautiful pictures that I'm getting of these tarot cards on display. Anyway, I got really distracted. So how, you can see, right, that no, well, actually, Katie, I'm not being tempted to a new deck. I am being tempted to one of the oldest, most complete tarot decks from the 15th century, because that's on display in the city. So I think someone is in the city right now at that particular museum. Oh, now it's on for 2 more days at the New York Historical Society. No! I've got plans. I've got plans this weekend. Uh, anyway, for a second there, I thought she was showing me the Visconti Sforza tarot cards, which are on display at the Morgan Library and Museum in New York City. And they're the most complete example of a deck from the 15th century and were most likely created by Bonifacio Bembo. And the reason I know that is because of the information on like the history of tarot and the history of cartomancy that I provided in my book, How to Read Tarot. And the other day, like, I'm not even joking with you, the other day we were in Midtown and we ended up, whichever way we were walking, we ended up walking past the Morgan Library, and I freaked out. I was just like, oh my God, that's where it is. It's right there. Like, it's so it's such an easy walk from Grand Central. I can just go here and I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, I got very distracted there. But I think what she was sending me was a Marseille deck that's on display in the city at the New York Historical Society. So sorry, guys, I got distracted. Anyway, let's take a look at one more card before we move into the mid-episode reading. Yeah, wow, indeed, right? Okay, so the 12th card would be the Hanged Man. So let's display that one. So the Hanged Man is associated with Neptune and the element of water. So and this is another one that, like, at first glance, I was just like, why would it be Neptune? Why would it be the element of water? Like, I don't necessarily see that right away in the imagery of the Hanged Man. So Neptune is myself, but now I understand. So Neptune is my selflessness, spirituality, intuition, dreams, and confusion. But like that, my selflessness, that is a very that's a keyword that's associated with the Hanged one of sacrifice, right? Or one of seeing a different perspective in order to, or doing something new to gain a different perspective. And Neptune's ruler. Neptune rules Pisces, which is not surprising at all. But now when I read those keyword associations, I get it. I understand. So how about you? Do you see the Neptunian influence in the Hanged One? Yeah, that definitely looks like a Marseille. I'm good. I'm okay. Oh, it's a Swiss. It's an IJ. Never mind, it's an IJ Swiss. The term Major Arcana refers to the central cards in the tarot deck. Many of the witches portrayed in this project began reading the visually rich, symbolic, pictorial divination cards as a gateway to their craft. This historic deck comes from Switzerland. Yeah, that's an IJJ Swiss tarot deck. But yeah, it's apparently a Schaffhaus Tarocchi, Swiss, unnamed tarot, French, and an Italian tarot. And there are 3 different tower cards that she sent me. It's on for 2 more days of the news. So it's apparently an exhibit on the Salem witch trials, reckoning and reclaiming. So I'll have to text her back when I'm done. So Katie says, spiritual and selflessness, I see. Note in that card depiction, there is a halo around his head. Yes, exactly. And so that can be a way of remembering some of these keywords, some of the ways that you can interpret this card, and also some of the correspondences, right? All right, let me remove this, and let's do the mid-episode reading. Let me put back up my stuff here. And yeah, let's do it. I will either read for you from the Meraki Tarot or from the Reflective Rider-Waite-Smith, whatever you prefer. But those are the 2 decks that I have to hand right now. I'm going to put these in little piles so I don't forget where my place is. But we just did the Hanged Man, so I know where our place is. So let us do, let me think of a, to be considered for mine. Let's do a keyword that would be associated with what I'm teaching tonight. So let's say astro. So to be considered for a live reading, drop the word astro into the chat. And I'm going to go ahead and show that. So now's the time. Those of you who were asking me about a free reading or a card reading, now's the time. And I will give you, I'll keep this open for about 5 minutes. Oh, she's sending me more pictures. I can't deal with this. All right, I will put on the clock 5 minutes starting now. Contest closes. I'm going to actually do that in cat contest. Closes in and put a 5 on the clock. All right. And move that over to here. So you have 5 minutes in which to put the word, drop the word astro into the chat to be considered for a live 3-card reading on the broadcast. So, and you know, if I read for you last week, that's fine. Go ahead and put your name in again. It's fine. Because if we have no takers, we're just like not doing it. So. All right. I mean, like, Katie's being very generous right now. Katie's being very generous and saying, since I got a reading last week, I won't be putting myself in. All right, Katie, but like, we've got four minutes to go and no one's dropped Astro yet. So, you know, maybe reconsider. And I'm going to reapply my lipstick. I had put on this, which is Kat Von D liquid lipstick in the color Lovecraft, which I really like. But I am realizing that I like always wear the same lipstick color. It's kind of ridiculous. So I feel like I got to branch out a little bit more in regard to lip colors. I have a few here. Like I've got this purpley pink one, but it's almost too much. You know what I mean? I'm always looking for the perfect red. I have some of my, speaking of, this is a very like hot pink. This is a hot pink little mini lipstick from Lady Gaga, House Labs. I think this is the House of Gucci. One of the makeups she did for that, like in celebration of that movie. So. All right. All right, I'm back. My screensaver kicked in. So I don't know what happened there. My camera got disconnected. So Katie let me know your video has frozen, but the countdown was still working. So you'll have to let me know if I'm back again. I'll double check on my end. Let me take a look here. Yes, I'm back. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, no takers for the mid-episode reading, so that's just fine. We're just not going to have one. I don't know where it got cut off, but I was just saying a little bit before, like, I don't understand when people come in and like start asking for like free readings, but then don't stick around to when it's actually time for the free reading. But I'm not making it the like beginning of the episode reading, and I'm not going to make it the end of the episode reading. It's just like I think that the mid episode reading is a good time to do the reading, because the real point of me doing it is so that people will watch and continue to watch. So, but if people are not going to participate, then I'm not gonna do it. So anyway, gonna hide all those shown items. So that's not happening this week. Oh wells. But you can still stick around to the end of the episode. I can still use the ticker because we're still going to have the weekend forecast. See, according to the agenda right there. All right. Let us move back into the topic of tonight's episode. And we're going to do the rest of the Major Arcana fairly quickly. And then we'll wrap up. So we'll do the weekend forecast, and then we'll save the Minor Arcana for part 2 next week. All right. So we are on the Death card. So number 13. And I'm not going to be able to show it because it's going to get blocked out from my overlay. So let me go ahead and remove that. So the Death card is Scorpio and the element of water. Scorpio is passion and intensity, and the I statement is I create. Which is an interesting I statement for Scorpio and for the association of the Death card, because it's just like, well, I don't know, Death card kind of destroys rather than creates, right? But anytime I look at the Death card or I see the Death card in a reading, like most of the time it doesn't really mean literal death. Sometimes it can, but it usually means transformation, and like something needs to end for something new to blossom. And that's normally why it is depicted with that white flower on that black background flag. So, but I can see that Scorpio would be associated with that. And by the way, Scorpio's ruler, I believe, is Pluto. Let me see. Yep, Scorpio's planetary ruler is Pluto, which is by power, rebirth, renewal, change, and transformation, which are all keywords that are associated with the Death card, or can be. So let me know if that association makes sense to you. And if it does, like, put that into your tarot and astrology filing cabinet. Or if it doesn't, please go ahead and discard it. You don't need it. All right. Temperance is associated with Sagittarius and fire. We actually talk about temperance and its association to Sagittarius in a past Card Slingers Coast to Coast episode. And Melissa, I think, really railed against that as a Sagittarius, as a card carrying member of the Sagittarius nation. So she could never understand why temperance would be associated with Sagittarius. And then as we go through the episode talking about the temperance card, like she relinquishes control in the way that she does, and admits it. It's just like, oh, okay, I can, all right, I grudgingly concede, I see it now. So Katie says, I usually interpret death as a renewal, so that matches Scorpio to me. Yes, same. But yeah, so the temperance card here, temperance is associated with Sagittarius and the element of fire. So Sagittarius is honest and independent, and their I statement is I understand. And Sagittarius's planetary ruler is Jupiter, which is luck, fortune, expansion, and charity. So what do you think? Like, do you agree, or do you rail against the association of Sagittarius being associated with the temperance card like Melissa did? But you can see right on the angel that I believe that triangle in the middle is the alchemical symbol for fire, if I'm remembering correctly. So there's that element there. And can we see any associations with Sagittarius in there? I mean, it's fine if you can't. And if you can't, maybe you want to check out that Card Slingers Coast to Coast episode on temperance. And I will let you know what episode that is. A quick internet search, and I can probably find that episode. Yeah. Episode number 55, Temperance says being is an art, wherever you subscribe to your podcasts. Yeah, with all that water in that depiction, that seems to put it off a little. Yeah. But notice that there is that balancing energy in there, and that one foot is on the bank and one foot is in the water. It is a lot of water, I'll admit. But again, maybe check out that episode on the Card Slingers on temperance, and see if you rail against it like Melissa, or if you embrace temperance and Sagittarius. All right. The next card is the Devil card, and the Devil card is associated with Capricorn and the element of Earth. Now, I definitely do agree with that, and I'll show you why. Oh, of course. Now I'm seeing. Okay. That'll be very useful. Okay, Minor Arcana. See, I found it. All right, show me. Well, I found the Minor Arcana folders. Interesting. All right, anyway. No. Come now. I know that I have the Devil card in here somewhere. strange. Guess I didn't label it the way I normally label it. Give me a second. I'm shocked. I thought I had all depictions of the tarot saved on my computer, but I did not. So here is the devil. Being a little bit of a minx as usual. So here's the devil card. And that's part of the reason why the imagery of the devil card, the Capricornian energy or the association does not surprise me. So Capricorn is ambition and organization. And the I statement is I use. And Capricorn's ruling planetary ruler is Saturn, which is my karma, authority, time, responsibility, limitations. There's definitely restriction there. There's definitely restriction there in the devil card. So do you agree? Do you agree that Capricorn is an appropriate association? Capricorn and the element of earth. I do. I can see it. All right. On to 16. Let's see if I've got that one. Do I not have that one either? Really? All right. That's okay. That's understandable that I don't have 16 saved because 16 is the Tower. So here's 16, which is one of the big bads of the tarot deck, the Tower. And the Tower is associated with Mars and the element of fire. So there's your Mars association, Katie. Mars is my passion, aggression, will, anger, drive, and determination. I can understand that it's Mars and it's fire. Mars is the god of war. This is a pretty violent looking card. So, and it has that violent energy to it. Yep, exactly. Katie says Mars blowing up things again. All right, let me see if I can do some of these in a row. So, after the Tower and that violent and aggressive energy, we have the Star card, which is Aquarius and the element of air. So if you're looking to do any new moon ritual that's got the astrological correspondences and the tarot, pull out your Star card this weekend for the new moon in Aquarius. So Aquarius, or well, sorry, not Aquarius. The star card is Aquarius. So let's see, Aquarius and air. So Aquarius is originality and vision, and their I statement is I know. And the planetary ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, which is my inner rebel, originality, change, and individuality. So you can see that the astrological signs and the planetary signs um, can just deepen and deepen the information, especially if you know what what the zodiac's planetary ruler is. But yeah, I mean, I see. I mean, Aquarius is the sign of the water bearer. There. There's the water bearer, folks, on the star card. So, but remember, just because there's all of that water in there, this is something that people get wrong a lot. Aquarius is not a water sign, it's an air sign. It's an air sign. But like literally, literally, Aquarius's symbol is the water bearer, and you've got the water bearer on the star card. That one's pretty straightforward. All right. In the home stretch here, folks. So now we have the moon card. Unsurprisingly, the moon card is ruled by Pisces and the element of water. So here's the moon card. So Pisces is sensitivity and faith, and their I statement is I believe, and their planetary ruler is Neptune, selflessness, spirituality, intuition, dreams, and confusion, which are all common associations with the moon card. Also, the moon card can be a little bit tricky because it's just like, well, why isn't the moon why isn't the moon the ruler of the moon? Because it's not. It's Pisces. But I can see that Pisces would be the ruler, would be the associated zodiac with the moon card. All right. And now we have the sun card. So the sun is a little bit more straightforward, folks. We do I not have the sun either? Jeez. All right. I guess I don't have the sun either. All right. Okay. And here is the sun. So, unsurprisingly, the sun is the sun. The planetary ruler is the sun, and it's the element of fire. So, the sun is my ego, life conscious identity, individuality, and what you're known for. And that is true for all of these facets, wherever this shows up in like your natal chart, for example. Like this is part of the reason why a lot of people um, a- associate themselves with their sun sign and talk about their sun sign a lot, because that's what they're known for. It's like their identifier. And the sun is like literally saying what you're known for. Like, I'm sun sign Aries. That's what I'm known for. However, sometimes your your ascendant sign actually is a more accurate representation of who you are, how you present yourself to the world. So yeah, so the sun card is the sun. Pretty straightforward, and we've got a big ass sun in the sky. So it can be a little bit, again, confusing with planetary rulers and planetary associations, because it's just like, okay, but the moon card shouldn't it be the moon? And it's just like, no, the moon is Pisces. So don't assume necessarily, just because it's a very obvious symbol in the tarot card does not necessarily indicate that that is the astrological correspondence or planetary correspondence, but in this case it's pretty straightforward, and it is sun is sun. So we've got I'm going to do what I should have been doing all along for these and just showing them in order in one image wheel, but I haven't been. So the next card, the 2020, is Judgment. So Judgment is associated with Pluto and the element of fire. That's better because it's an image gallery. Yes, got it. Ooh, okay. So Judgment is Pluto and the element of fire. So Pluto is my power, rebirth, renewal, change, and transformation. I'm looking to see if there's a little astrological sign on that depiction, and there isn't. But you may find that again, a tarot deck creator or designer chooses to put the astrological symbol or zodiac symbol in a very obvious way on the card, or they may put it in like the lower left hand corner, the lower right hand corner, to give you an indication of what the correspondence is. And the reason why I'm saying that, like, as we're getting towards the end of part one of this, of these episodes on the tarot and astrology, is because the Meraki tarot deck creators decided to do that for the Major Arcana, at least for the second edition. Yeah, so here, for example, I'll just show you really quickly. The Wheel of Fortune in the Meraki Tarot is depicted like this, right? And the Wheel of Fortune has decided to give the zodiac sign symbols that are water in nature, earth in nature, fire, or water, earth, air, fire, all in nature, as the little representations on the four corners of the wheel. But they do have right there in the bottom right, they have the astrological sign that pertains, or the zodiac sign that pertains to the Wheel of Fortune card. Same thing here with the universe, which is about to be our last and final card, right there. See? So look out for that if you are working with a tarot deck that has decided to do that. I'm curious to see what my husband is playing because it looks like he's playing a video game in the other room. So I'm like, what is he doing? Anyway, so I can't see any discernible symbols on this depiction. But just because I'm not seeing it here doesn't mean that your tarot deck may not have it or may have it. All right. Finally, we have the last card in the Major Arcana, which is either the universe or the world card. And that is associated with Saturn and the element of Earth. So Saturn is my karma, authority, time, responsibility, and limitations. So it's a card of completion, right? But like Saturn is about structure. I'm not entirely surprised that Saturn exerts its influence on the last card of the Major Arcana. How about you? Yes, I'm being incredibly nosy right now. All right, well, that's it, folks. And so these are the kind of questions that I would prompt you to answer on your own. Which of these associations do you agree with and why? And which of these associations do you disagree with and why? Um, and then next week, on next week's episode, we're going to be talking about how not only is every major arcana card associated with astrology, but every numbered minor arcana card is too. An example I would give is the Three of Swords is Saturn in Libra from 10 to 20 degrees. And does this kind of information help you? Why or why not? So we'll be discussing that kind of stuff in next week's episode. So basically part 2 of tarot and astrology. And more than that too. Yeah. So Katie says, I think I will have to work on that one. Saturn doesn't hit me that way. Understandable. And again, if it doesn't work for you, if it doesn't work for you, like put it aside. But really, I would again ask you. I would question you why. Why doesn't it work for you? Or if you do agree with it, why do you agree with it? Why do you disagree, and why? It's all good information, and it deepens not only your understanding of the tarot, but your understanding of astrology and vice versa. All right, are we ready for so thank you all for watching part 1. I look forward to teaching part 2 next week. And I'll go ahead and create that event on the Book of Face, and pre-schedule. Probably not tonight necessarily. But yeah, so if this interested you, if this topic interested you, then I would definitely encourage you to show up for next week's episode, for part 2, where we start to discuss the court cards and the minor arcana, and the decan wheel. So let me give you a quick little preview of that. Actually, I'm gonna close that. Hopefully I didn't close everything out there. But I'm going to show you some of the things that I downloaded in order to teach this particular class. I thought I was going to do it all in one shot. Yes, Katie. Yes, again, you're anticipating my needs or what I was going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of versions of this. So Katie's asking about this thing here, the decan wheel or the decan wheel. Could you put up the reference for that detailed chart that you put up at the beginning that had all the associations, if you had it, please? I'm going to also link you that blog post where it explains a little bit about it. And also I have a about 9-minute tube of you video that I found talking about this and explaining this in some depth. This is one version. This is another version. And then this is the detailed version. Okay. So I will give you the link so that you can understand what it is that I'm talking about. So if you want to like start to look at the minor arcana and the court cards before next week's episode, the part 2, where we'll get into more depth about that, you're more than welcome to do so. But this is like a preview of next week's episode. So this is the decan or decan. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sophia, if you're still around or if you're watching the replay, just like give us the right pronunciation so I don't sound like an ass, even though I'll sound like an ass anyway. But yeah, no problem, Katie. Not a problem at all. So this is kind of like what we're talking about here, where you can see the associations in a little bit more depth. This is actually the version that I'm most comfortable with looking at because I don't have to squint too much. It's a little bit larger font for me. But you can see that the aces are on the outside of this wheel, and then the princesses are the next line in, next circle in, and then the princes, the queens, and the knights are in the third circumference in. And then you see it start to get broken down into dates and associations. So like really quickly, you can see like my example before was 3 of Swords is Saturn in Libra from 10 to 20 degrees. So how do I know that? I know that because I was able to look on this wheel to find that. So if you look around here, I'm looking for the 3. So there it is. The three of Swords. There it is in Libra. Yep. Saturn in Libra from 10 to 20 degrees. Can't remember how I know the Saturn part. But yeah. But that's an example of how to quickly read one of these. But we'll definitely go in more depth in next week's episode, and I'm going to show you that that particular tube of you video that I was looking at that can get into more deep explanation about it, because I found I think her name is like Beta or Beta, and she explains all about this. And again, like notice how there's the princesses and the princes and the queen and the knights. So you're not seeing a king there. The reason you're not seeing a king there is because there is no kings in a Thoth deck. Their king is called knight. So that can get very confusing, especially if you're from a Rider-Waite-Smith background where you have the page, the knight, the queen, the king, which is the reason why I went into that a little bit of that description from my book, just to explain that, because we're gonna get Thothy next episode. This is really where you see the numerology and the astrological correspondences come into play. So I am going to make sure that I share that article that I mentioned. I think this one was a good one that I got my understanding from. Yeah. So it's 10 degrees. It's 10 degrees of separation. The zodiac houses span 30-degree sections of the wheel going counterclockwise. Aries is the first house and Pisces is in the 12th. Each of the houses is further subdivided into 10-degree segments called decans or decanates. The minor arcana tarot cards 2 through 10 are assigned to each decan. The 2, 3, and 4 of wands span the entire house Aries, for example. And then the suits are not arranged in order. They are assigned to houses with the same element. For example, all wands correspond to fire signs. So that's a quick preview of next week's episode where we get further into this. So, and here's that blog post that I was talking about. I'll just show that on screen. So you can go ahead and click on that link after the episode. All right. Gonna go ahead and hide that. Oh, wait, really quickly. The aces, by the way, it's 2 through 10 that are associated. The aces are not associated with any particular card. They're associated with the suit because the aces are the, I guess, the essence of that suit or that element. So ace of discs is going to be that essence of, essence of pentacles or earth. The ace of swords is going to be that essence of air. That ace of cups is going to be that essence of water. And then the ace of wands is going to be that essence of fire. That's at least just what I gleaned from prepping for this particular episode. Yeah, it's called like the purity. Hold on a second here. One might, where is it? Yeah, the aces and the court cards live on the outside rim of the wheel. In the Thoth deck, the knights, queens, and princesses rule entire 30-degree segments. Notice they are not evenly placed over the houses. Yeah, when I was searching through that's basically like that's the version of it I heard, that it's just like it's the aces are the pure essence of their suit. Does that make sense to everybody? Hold on a second. Katie says that more detailed wheel or chart, that wasn't Thoth. Do you have that link too? I think I found it just from a web search or an image search. I just wrote in decan wheel Thoth or Thoth, and I saw images. So like literally I did an image search and that's the really bright one. At the end, that's the one that I found. So yeah, it was the deluxe decan wheel or decan wheel. I can't. I think it was just an image search. I mean, you're welcome to have it. I can. Yeah, I can. I don't know if I can necessarily share that from my. I don't know if I can do a share. But yeah, it was called the deluxe decan wheel, and I think it was like the third thing I found. Yeah, so I'll try and post it. If you don't find it by next week, I'll try and like upload it so that you can have it. All right, let us do not that. Yikes. Let's do the weekend forecast, shall we? Does anyone have any preferences? Do we want to do tarot? Do we want to do the Meraki or the Rider Waite Smith, or do we want an oracle card? I'll leave it up to you. And the live reading that I'm talking about is the weekend forecast. So, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up my overlay. And by the way, that QR code that's up there, that's just a link right to my website, tarotbyhillary.com. You can also type that in if you would like to book a reading with me or a tapping session with me. And just a reminder that tapping sessions are half off. Discount code GALA, GALA, for tapping sessions, 50% off. Those are the only things that are discounted right now because seeing is believing with tapping, folks. I love it. I'm so excited to be embarking on more professional development regarding tapping that is being given by my teacher, Gala, hence the discount code. Gala Darling is doing, another class for GDM graduates. So I'm one of those graduates of her method. And I'm excited. There are exciting things happening, and I'm just loving how my understanding is deepening, and like learning different techniques and learning how to integrate tarot and tapping together. It's very, very powerful. And it's like, it's just amazing to be like, have things come up in the cards and then be able to immediately like work on them with tapping has been like absolutely fantastic. I highly, highly recommend it. So if that's interesting to you, go to my website, tarotbyhillary.com, go to top navigation, EFT tapping. That way you can look at my landing page, learn a little bit more about what EFT is about. And then you can book a session from there, but make sure that you use the discount code on checkout, GALA, to get 50% off, because that is only available until the 31st of the month, and then it's going away, and then you have to pay full price. So, but I'm worth it full price too, just to let you know. So Katie is saying, I'm enjoying Meraki's. All right, Meraki it is. Let's go for it. Glad I didn't put it away. I don't know. I have a feeling we're gonna get an oracle card. We're gonna get an oracle card from the Meraki Tarot, like whether we like it or not. I feel like there's an oracle card coming. And today's card of the day was the 9 of Cups from the Meraki Tarot. Really beautiful card. It was like bubbles, 9 bubbles, and 9 fish. It's just beautiful. And if you're wondering about the Meraki Tarot, you can always look at a past episode. We just did the unboxing of the Meraki Tarot last week. That was last week's episode. All right, what do we need to know for this weekend? Other than all of the astrology that we talked about at the top of the episode. Give it to us straight. No chaser. All right, so we do have a reversal. Beautiful, beautiful card. So we have the Queen of Pentacles coming up reversed. So I'll show her upright. But she is coming up reversed for us for the weekend forecast. So let me grab my keywords and go to the Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles reversed is envious, fortune hunter, and smothering. Oh my, those are not nice keywords for the Queen of Pentacles. But again, I was just talking with one of my clients. I just had a tarot tutoring session over Skype. I can also do it over Zoom or over phone or in person. Doesn't matter to me. But we were working on a bunch of different things about their tarot journey. And one of their observations, it wasn't necessarily from this past session that we did. But it was like one of the things they asked about reversals, and I was just like, well, do you feel like you need to read with reversals? And they were like, well, no. I don't feel like I need to for some decks, but some decks I feel like it needs it. It doesn't feel complete. Like some decks, it feels complete without using reversals, and some decks, it feels incomplete if I don't use reversals. Or if I do use reversals, it doesn't feel complete unless I use reversals. And so I'm just like, that's actually a very nuanced understanding of the tarot. And I'm glad that you've given yourself permission, and I'm going to further give you permission to do exactly what feels right for you as a reader. If a tarot deck doesn't feel like it needs reversals and you understand it the way it is, then that's fine. You don't have to read with reversals ever, or you don't have to read with reversals with that deck. Now, if another deck that you're using doesn't feel complete in your body or in your intuition or in your spirit without reversals, then by all means use them. So this deck that I'm using, the Meraki Tarot, I would say it does feel complete when I use reversals, and I just use reversals in general. I don't have fear of them anymore, but I would extend you that permission slip if you need it. Whether it's you don't read with reversals at all, or whether you read with reversals with only certain decks. Like, I extend that permission slip to you. But anyway, the Queen of Pentacles is coming up for us reverse this weekend. So I would keep in mind everything that we talked about astrologically at the top of the episode. And then I would also keep in mind to, protect your freedom. I have a feeling this card is being pointedly directed at me with regards to like the smothering. Again, those keywords were for the reversal: envious, fortune hunter, and smothering. Like you might feel jealous of somebody else. You might feel smothered by somebody else. You might feel other people have things that they don't deserve, or why don't I have those things that I want? And I would really encourage you to take a step back. Take a step back from that feeling, and do a quick gratitude list of all the things that you already have in your life. Like, do a list of 5 when you're feeling that sense of contraction, or claustrophobia, or envy, or jealousy. Take a step back and list 5 things that you have right now to be grateful for. There you go. That's your weekend forecast. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for doing this deep dive into tarot and astrology. And this is part 1 of 2, if not 3. I'm going to try and make it be only 2 parts, though. So part 2 is going to be this coming Friday. So remember, we do episodes like this every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rain, shine, snow, inclement weather, whatever. And so next week is going to be a tarot and astrology part 2. So we'll be talking about the minor arcana next week and what those associations are. So Katie says, thank you and have a wonderful weekend. You too, Katie. Thank you once again for being a loyal viewer and loyal listener. And I'm just going to remind you all that I am Hillary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, don't argue with me. You have intuition. You can just type in my URL right there, tarotbyhillary.com, or you can go ahead and use that QR code up there. Go ahead and pause the replay if you'd like, and use that QR code, and I'll take you right down to there, tarotbyhillary.com. I encourage you to book a reading with me, or a tapping session with me, whichever is hitting your fancy, whatever you need right now. And Yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I would encourage you to tune in next week, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, where we're continuing with tarot and astrology part 2. Bye.